The antique shop, echoes of the past, was a labyrinth of dust motes dancing in slivers of sunlight. Eleanor, its new proprietor, found herself drawn to a particular corner where a chipped porcelain doll sat on a velvet cushion. Her painted eyes seemed to follow Eleanor, a mournful gaze that pricked at her conscience. She'd inherited the shop from her estranged aunt, a woman shrouded in whispers and a reputation for hoarding forgotten treasures. The doll, however, felt different. Not just old, but present. One rainy Tuesday, as Eleanor catalogued a collection of silver spoons, a faint melody drifted from the back room. It was a lullaby, sweet and melancholic, a tune she vaguely recognized from childhood. Her heart quickened. She'd locked the back room, a space her aunt had always forbidden her from. Entering, peeking through the keyhole, she saw nothing but shadows. The music, however, grew louder, clearer. It was the lullaby of the porcelain doll. Over the next few days, the hauntings escalated. Objects would rearrange themselves overnight. The scent of lavender, her aunt's signature perfume, would fill the air unexpectedly, but the doll remained Eleanor's focal point. Its stillness was unnerving, its gaze unwavering. One evening, driven by a growing sense of unease and an inexplicable pull, Eleanor decided to confront the presence. Clutching a tarnished silver locket she'd found amongst her aunt's belongings, she approached the doll. "Who are you?" Eleanor whispered, her voice trembling. The lullaby, which had become a constant companion, stilled. In its place, a faint sigh echoed through the shop. The doll's head tilted, a movement so subtle Eleanor almost missed it. Then, the locket in her hand grew warm. It snapped open, revealing a miniature portrait of a young woman, her face etched with a familiar sadness. It was her aunt, but much younger, holding a baby. The doll, Eleanor realized with a chilling certainty, was the baby. The story spilled out, not in words, but in a torrent of images and sensations that flooded Eleanor's mind. She saw her aunt, a young mother, desperately trying to shield her infant daughter from a looming threat. She saw the doll being crafted, imbued with the child's essence, a desperate attempt to preserve her when the inevitable came. Her aunt, a practitioner of forgotten arts, had bound her daughter's spirit to the doll, hoping to protect her from a fate worse than death, a fate that had claimed her own parents years before. The lullaby was a ward, a protection, a mother's eternal song. The threat, Eleanor understood, was not a malicious ghost or a vengeful spirit. It was the encroaching modernity, the relentless march of progress that her aunt had so fiercely resisted. Her aunt hadn't been hoarding treasures. She had been guarding memories, protecting the delicate threads of the past from being severed. The doll, her daughter, was the last vestige of a lineage and a life she desperately wanted to keep alive. Eleanor looked at the doll, no longer with fear, but with a profound sorrow. She saw not a haunted object, but a lost child, eternally cradled in her mother's love. The lavender scent was not a threat, but a comforting embrace. The lullaby was not a warning, but a song of enduring affection. She understood her aunt's reclusiveness, her fierce protectiveness of the shop. It wasn't about greed, it was about sanctuary. She gently lifted the doll from its cushion. The porcelain felt cool, almost alive. She carried it to the back room, the room her aunt had so meticulously kept locked. The lock, to Eleanor's surprise, yielded easily. Inside, the room was not a dusty tomb, but a meticulously preserved nursery. A crib sat in the center, a faded rocking horse stood sentinel, and on a small wooden shelf, a collection of children's books, their pages brittle with age. Eleanor placed the doll in the crib. As she did, a soft light bloomed from within the doll. The painted eyes for the first time seemed to truly see. A faint smile, barely perceptible, touched the porcelain lips. The lullaby, no longer mournful, swelled with a peaceful resolution. Eleanor felt a warmth spread through her, a sense of closure that transcended generations. The ghost of the past, finally at peace, faded into the comforting silence of a nursery, long forgotten, leaving behind only the faintest echo of a lullaby and the lingering scent of lavender. Eleanor, finally understanding, closed the nursery door, not to lock it away, but to preserve a sacred space. The antique shop was no longer a collection of forgotten objects, but a testament to enduring love and the ghosts that whispered stories of its resilience.